I must say that our visit to Niger has been very fruitful, and that it has opened an avenue to start talking.
ECOWAS envoy to Niger confirms channel for diplomacy now open. Galore of promises and assurances as more ministers resume at duty post.
Especially that they are quite neglected and also relegated. And I want to commend you all for also remembering them.
Better days ahead. First Lady assures Nigerians promises to champion the cause of widows and dependents of fallen heroes. Hello and welcome to the Network News. I am Olajide Bello, and joining me from Lagos is Adeola Komiakuri. Remember, you can watch these news live on our website nta.ng/live and also on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. Our efforts have continued towards a resolution to the political crisis in the Niger Republic, with President Bola Tinubu in receipt of a report of the ECOWAS envoy to Niger. Former heads of state, General Abdul Salami, who visited the Nigerian military junta. President Tinubu, who is the chairman of the West African Regional Bloc's Authority of Heads of State and Government, received the former head of state at the president of ECOWAS Commission, Omar Toure, with the National Security Advisor, Nuhuri Badu, also in attendance. General Abdul Salami believes the effort of the bloc, led by President Tinubu, is yielding results towards an amicable resolution of the crisis.
Our visit to Niger has been very fruitful, and that it has opened an avenue to start talking, and hopefully we will get somewhere. We made their own points, and then I made my report to the chairman of the ECOWAS Heads of State and President. He will now consult with his colleagues, and then the ding-dong starts, and we'll get somewhere. Hopefully, diplomacy will see the better of this thing. Nobody wants to go to war. It doesn't pay anybody, but then again, you know, our leaders have said, if all fails, and I don't think all will fail, we'll get somewhere. We'll get out of this mess.
General Abdul Salami Abubakar speaking there. The President has directed the Director General and CEO of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, Engineer Aliu Abubakar Aziz, to proceed on a 90-day pre-retirement leave with effect from August 24, 2023, leading to his eventual retirement from service on November 24, 2023. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, indicates that the President also approved the appointment of Engineer Bisoye Koka Odushote to serve as the Acting Director General and CEO of the Commission for a 90-day period with effect from August 24, 2023, after which a full term of 4 years will begin as the substantive NIMC Director General CEO from November 24, 2023. President Tinubu did also approve the appointment of Honorable Yusuf Buba Yakub as Director and CEO of the Directorate of Technical Aid Corps, DTAC. This follows the recent expiration of the tenure of the former DTAC Director and CEO, Dr. Pius Osunyikomi. This appointment takes immediate effect. More ministers have resumed duty, pledging commitment towards good governance and socio-economic growth. Ruth Aguele has a compilation of those who resumed today at the various ministries.
Hard times await bandits, terrorists and other criminals across the country, following the proposal for a timeline to end security threats by the Ministers of Defense and Police Affairs. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, and Minister of State Defense, Mohammed Bello Matawale, on assumption of duty, tasked personnel to redouble efforts in promoting internal security. the Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gaidam, and the Minister of State Police Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, on assumption of duty, gave assurances of a police force that will be efficient, professional, and accountable for the well-being of the society. Similarly, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, has promised to hit the ground running by initiating policies that will drive the country's economic growth to double digits. Both the Minister of Education, Mamman Tahir, and Minister of State Education, Dr. Tanko Yusuf Sununu, pledged to turn around the education sector in a short time as they seek for support from the staff of the ministry to achieve the mandate. Dignitaries who graced the reception in honor of the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Bakola Long, in solidarity, expressed confidence on his ability to manage arising issues and the right mediator between government and labour unions. The Minister of Niger Delta, Abubakar Momo, has made a commitment to fast-track major physical development of the region during a reception in his honor. On his appointment, just as dignitaries expressed delight in his ability to deliver on the mandate. Prominent sons and daughters of Osun State rolled out the drums to celebrate one of their own, appointed as Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, who expressed confidence in exploring the concept of sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Now we know almost all the new ministers have formally resumed duties at their various posts after yesterday's inauguration by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House Conference Center in Abuja. While expectations remain really high, as acknowledged by the President himself, public confidence in most, if not all, of the newly sworn-in ministers is buoyed by their antecedents, qualifications and expertise, with most Nigerians eagerly awaiting the ministers to roll out initiatives tending towards Nigeria's recovery, its development and greatness. To get a sense of where these ministers are in terms of readiness 24 hours after resuming duty at the ministers, I have a crop of our correspondents joining me tonight. Lady, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I reckon, and the question that applies to you all is whether within the last 24 hours you still do get the sense of urgency from these new ministers to deliver on the task at hand. I will begin with our man at the State House, Musbah and Wahab. Musbah, in his charge to the ministers, President Tinubu did say the government cannot afford to fail Nigerians and that those are seen as underperforming will be replaced. Do you think that message resonated, that urgency and implicit demand to make the expectations of Nigerians? Musbah.
Very well, Olajide. It actually speaks a volume of the knowledge that the president has about the situation in the country. It shows that he knows what is in for. Of course, he has said it severally that he campaigned for this, he would not complain. And of course, he knows about the challenges that we are having in the country and is ready to go for to face those challenges, particularly the economy, security, and some other sectors that need urgent attention. And of course, one thing that the president has been able to carve a niche for himself on is setting high standard for himself, and of course getting the right people to help him achieve those to get the work done. And you can always trace that back to his days as the governor of Lagos State, where he recorded some achievements in education, medical line, and of course the revenue renaissance. But he was able to achieve raising the internally generated revenue profile of the state from barely 500 million naira to about 7 billion naira by the time he left office in 2007. And some of those who worked with him then as commissioners or chief of staff later became leaders in their own rights, some of them became governors, and of course some became ministers.
Musbao, many thanks. I know you do have loads of information for us, but quickly, next I will cross over to our NTA business correspondent, Benny. The economy is in the thick of Nigeria's road to recovery and development. The new Minister of Finance is incidentally the coordinating Minister of the Economy. What do you think of some of what he did say yesterday in terms of KPIs and how he is heavily investing in reversing Nigeria's import-export imbalances?
Okay, thank you, Olajide. Talking about key performance indicators, as the coordinating minister of the economy indicated yesterday when he assumed office, I also want to bring to our notice that him being the coordinating minister, you also have under the finance and economy, you have industry, trade and investment minister who also assumed office yesterday, and today we had the minister of budget and national planning also resuming office. Three of them are of the view that enough of talk shop. It's time to actually walk. Walking the talk for them means fiscal policies must have proper handshake with monetary policies, and that we have seen being kicked off from the inauguration of Mr. President, where he indicated that there are going to be reforms in these sectors. For the monetary sector, the government has promised that small businesses, medium businesses are going to be encouraged to thrive for us to have a productive economy. And in that sense, tax reforms have been introduced. That is on the fiscal side. And they are saying we have more than 50 different taxes. And the government now is saying we're going to streamline this to 10 taxes. Yet it says there's going to be a target of GDP, tax to GDP ratio of 18%, which at present is about 10%. And Nigerians are asking, how are you going to ensure that this happens? What the government is saying, they are going to tax prosperity, tax fruits, and not to tax the seeds, which is to say they are going to encourage your business grow before they collect taxes. And on the monetary side, government is also saying there's going to be a reduction in interest rates so that the productive sector will get to survive, will get to be more productive. Yes, we're talking about the forex regime in the country, where dollar as at today at the close of market was about 746 to 765 in the market, which is the parallel market. And government is saying once you have a productive sector that gets to export, you are going to save forex. And the call for the ministers is that yes, we're going to attract investors, and in attracting investors, we're going to make the business environment much more conducive. Okay, Benny, let's be gender sensitive. Let's head straight now to Ruth, who is in fact our very own born broadcaster of the year. She's a correspondent covering the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. Ruth, Dr. Betta Edusiem, the achiever, I dare say, considering her aging emergence in public domain within the last 10 years or so, how is all that likely to impact in the current drive to lift more than 133 million Nigerians out of extreme poverty, as she puts it, not so modestly?
Thank you, Jide. I like the fact that you mentioned her age, because she actually emphasized on that as an advantage, rather. She's looking at speed in terms of service delivery, in terms of innovation as a young person. But looking at the numbers, 133 million Nigerians in poverty, that is huge. And we saw determination, you know, from a young person yesterday, speaking of going to every nook and cranny of Nigeria. In her words, you know, to reach out to the poorest of the poor, to lift this number out of poverty. Of course, she understands that it's not an easy task. It requires political will. It requires determination. Humanitarian crisis is not new to Nigeria, and this is something, it's an effort that federal government has consistently put in measures in terms of palliatives and other modalities in place to ensure that humanitarian interventions is strategically streamlined. But she's looking at another strategy this time around, being there, meeting these people, because she said they're not numbers, they're not data, these are people that we live amongst them. And I saw a minister who wants to work but it's beyond just talk. It's about walking the talk. And she wants to also drive the policies that is already in place through coordinated efforts, talking about collaboration with international community, which is already in place, but enhancing that in terms of partnership. And Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, of course, used to be very huge. She emphasized the aspect of renaming the ministry with poverty alleviation as strategically being done to refocus direction, to bring smiles again in line with President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, to restore hope to Nigerians again. And I know Nigerians have high expectations when it comes to putting that smiles, like she rightly put it, on their faces, because the truth is people want to see that impact. They want to see that effect happen on them.
Okay, many thanks, Ruth. And lastly, Ismail Musa, NTA's defense correspondent. While I thank you for your patience, do I say morning, sir? I should just go ahead with my question.
Please do, please do.
All right, many thanks. It does seem the new Minister of Defense has been his fill of the war against insurgency and banditry in Nigeria. Quickly, give us an idea of what the new timeline set for the military to end the war mean exactly, and how that may be different from previous timelines that were issued and that your report had on.
Thank you, Olajide. There's a lot of difference this time and what we have in the past. You see, in the past, such timelines, such pronunciation do come from the president to the service chief. This time around, for the first time, it's coming from the minister directly to the service chiefs. From their body language, from their speech, they came prepared. Now, talking about timeline, the ministers promised to work with specific timeline and empirical benchmarks. Now, talking about banditry and terrorism, they said, talking about banditry in the North Central, for instance, they promised to interface with the various services, identify what's the threat and what are the requirements. You need buffalo trucks, you need gun trucks. The ministers promised to convey these requirements to the president, who is the commander-in-chief. These things will be provided, the minister said, and they promised to sit on their various necks and ensure these threats are subdued, are combated within a particular timeline. Now, they also promised to upscale the various SuperCam concept we already have. SuperCam concept entails stocking military arsenals in a particular area to enhance rapid response to threats. They promise to provide more equipments, more platforms that will put our armed force on the edge and combat and subdue most of the threats we have. They came prepared. They've already identified all threats, and immediately after their presentation, they went straight to closed-door meetings with the various service chiefs. And from the feelers we got after their presentations, a lot is in the pipeline, and I'll show you.
Many thanks, Ismail. I think that's the much we'll be able to take. Many thanks, lady and gentlemen. Keep up the good work. You guys are doing really great. Many thanks. Moving on, the Minister of Arts, Culture and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musa Musawa, is promising to engender a national campaign that utilizes Nigeria's vast resources in the arts and creative industry to build a glowing and deserving national image for the world's most populous black nation. In a statement, the minister, who officially assumed duty as the first female minister to hold that portfolio, says the country can no longer be solely associated with negatives such as poverty, fraud, terrorism and other forms of criminality. She said to change the nation's image positively beyond the shores of this country will require the collective support of all well-meaning Nigerians. As one of her immediate key plans, she hopes to facilitate the composition of a national theme song for the Nigerian brand, and therefore encourage Nigerian songwriters and musical artists from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to begin to think in that direction. You're watching the Network News. More reports when we return. Stay with us. Glad to know you're still there. While the federal government continues to evolve measures that will guarantee a better future for the country, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu maintains that efforts to soften the impact of the ongoing reforms on widows and other dependents of fallen heroes must be prioritized. She stated this when she received the wives of service chiefs and the acting Inspector General of Police in the villa. State House correspondent Adeni Itawo reports that the First Lady also granted separate audience to the newly sworn-in Ministers of Women Affairs and Tourism.
About providing quality education in our barracks through our various group of schools, amongst other activities we embark on.
And in faraway South Africa, Vice President Kashim Shettima is flying the Nigerian flag as the BRICS member countries meet to discuss trade and other development issues among themselves and other invited-friendly nations. Of course, there are several issues of interest on the table, and Nigeria is hoping to take advantage of the summit by ensuring that talks and deliberations with other nations transit to direct foreign investment. Our State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila is on the Vice President's entourage to the summit holding in Johannesburg, South Africa, and he now joins us for more on the summit. Good to see you, Jibrila.
Good to see you, Olajide. Good evening.
Yeah, I hear the Vice President Shettima is expected to make some presentation at the summit on the last day of the event. What are the likely issues he is going to raise?
The BRICS summit is coming together of 5 countries. The top agenda is economic development, and you know Nigeria is the present administration's commitment towards the diversification of the economy. That is among what brought the Vice President to South Africa to meet with different leaders to showcase Nigeria's will to cooperate with them in terms of economy. And even this afternoon, the Vice President was at the exhibition center of the BRICS, where even Nigerian products were displayed there, and other countries too displayed their products. And the Vice President went round and saw whatever is there, and he made commitment of Nigeria's will to cooperate with any country that is willing to invest in the country. And the top agenda of the Vice President coming for this BRICS summit is economic diversification of Nigeria.
All right, Jibrila, just before you go, another key issue on the table is the plan for possible expansion of the body from BRICS to BRICS Plus. Do you have any information on where Nigeria stands on joining BRICS?
I think that will come after the Vice President's address on the last day of the BRICS. And apart from that, many countries are expected to join the BRICS on the BRICS Plus agenda, which is also part of the issues to be discussed at the summit. And even tomorrow, apart from the economic diversification, the Vice President is expected to attend a conference on the pandemic preparedness and prevention and its response. So I think at the end of the summit, we will know Nigeria's stand.
All right, State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila giving us an update on the ongoing BRICS summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olajide.
In the meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima earlier today visited the Gallagher Convention Center at the BRICS Exhibition Center with a view towards attracting business and trade partnerships. Our man on ground, Abdurrahman Jibrila, tells us more.
Nigeria is among nations participating in the 15th BRICS Summit, scheduled in Johannesburg, South Africa, with Vice President Kashim Shettima representing the country. This exhibition center serves as a platform for showcasing products and services from the BRICS countries, as well as business-to-business interaction aimed at increasing intra-BRICS trade and investment. Nigeria is not left out, as artists and designers are developing interest in Nigerian arts and designs as the country continues to partner other nations to boost economic growth. Excited by the development, Vice President Kashim Shettima took time to see for himself the innovative approach of these entrepreneurs.
The investments Nigerians are making in South Africa, this is a harbinger of greater things to come. Nigerians are active in the digital economy, they are active in fashion, they are equally active in mining. I'm quite glad that quite a number of our countrymen are doing well and are willing to partner with the home nation for the greater glory of the African continent.
He also visited other pavilions to explore more areas of opportunities for Nigeria.
The President is very passionate about empowering MSMEs, about empowering our youth and women to be catapulted to the workspace that will enable them to support their families and add value to the nation. He's a modern man, he's a very progressive-minded leader, and in the coming months, there will be a sea change in the fortune of Nigeria.
We are also looking at the South African companies with which we have already established some business links, and discussions are at advanced stage on how to partner together in the spirit of the South-South cooperation, as well as the activation of Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
The Vice President is expected to make a presentation on the last day of the 15th BRICS Summit. From Johannesburg in South Africa, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
And on security back home in Nigeria, the Army War College has commenced a military exercise codenamed Skylark for participants of the service's war colleges. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details of the exercise holding in Abuja.
In view of the dynamism and complex nature of emerging security challenges, the Army War College Nigeria is conducting a joint operation planning exercise codenamed Skylark 2023. This is to enhance the capacity of participants of the service's war colleges to effectively respond to current security threats while operating in a joint multi-agency environment. The joint operation exercise will also provide a forum for participants who are being trained as operational commanders to practice planning and the conduct of operations under different threats and scenarios.
Dynamics of the security situation across the country has continued to change. Training ought to be purpose-oriented, so we projected forward to see what are the likely threats that could come about. And with that, we were able to play out the scenario, and the participants reacted in line with that scenario, and that has actually provided a very, very good understanding based on the scenario created.
The multi-services exercise will end on the 25th August 2023. From the Nigerian Army War College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And away from security matters, Nigeria's oil-rich region is set to witness massive development in the area of infrastructure, going by some recent interventions by the Niger Delta Development Commission. Jenny Barsi reports that the Commission is leveraging the support of reputable organizations to foster rapid growth in the Niger Delta through public-private partnership.
The Niger Delta Development Commission played host to policymakers, development partners, and select stakeholders in the region towards making good of its promise to develop the region. They are in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, to strategize towards actualizing this goal, one of which is the Commission's master plan and the 2024 budget. The budget, christened Project of Reconstruction, is expected to meet the yearnings of the people.
Our expectation is that at the end of the day, we're going to have an all-inclusive budget, a budget that will reflect the vision and the aspiration of the people of the Niger Delta.
NDDC budgets over the years have been faced with challenges, which included belated submission, delayed approvals, amongst others.
Representatives from the state's government, stakeholders of the region, and investors pledged their support to make the Niger Delta region a destination of choice.
We have gathered here to give an account of the process the NDDC has taken and the preparation of the 2024 budget.
Deliberations will not just be a reflection of the vision of the people of the Niger Delta, but it should equally be a reflection of the collective will and aspirations of the people.
Because we looked at the changing paradigm, we actually made a decision that we cannot achieve what we want to do on our own.
The two-day Partnership for Sustainable Development Forum 2024 Project of Reconstruction Conference climaxed with stakeholders of the 9 member states of the region presenting their master plan blueprint. Jenny Bassi, NTA News.
In the UK, the British police says they have charged former Nigerian Oil Minister Diezani Alison Madueke with bribery-related offences, saying they suspected she had accepted bribes in return for awarding multi-million-pound oil and gas contracts. Head of the National Crime Agency and NCA International Corruption Unit, Andy Kelly, said the police suspect Diezani Alison Madueke abused her power in Nigeria and accepted financial rewards for awarding multi-million-pound contracts. These counts are a milestone in what has been a thorough and complex international investigation. Alison Madueke has been accused of benefiting from at least £100,000 in cash, chauffeur driving cars, flights on private jets, luxury holidays for her family, and the use of multiple London property. 63-year-old Alison Madueke was a key figure in the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, serving as petroleum minister from 2010 to 2015. She also acted as the president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Governor of Borno State has flagged off the distribution of presidential palliative intervention at Maisandari ward of the Maiduguri Metropolitan Council to ease the hardship caused by the petrol subsidy removal and high prices of food items. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum performed the distribution of the presidential intervention meant for 100,000 households, complementing the ongoing support of 300,000 vulnerable households initiated by the Borno State government. Mohammed Goni reports.
The 3,000 citizens of Maisandari ward of Maiduguri Metropolitan Council, comprising male and female households, are part of the 100,000 vulnerable households earmarked to benefit from the presidential intervention.
Governor
Zulum noted that President Bola Tinubu approved 5 billion naira for each state, with each receiving 1 billion naira worth of maize grain and 4 billion naira cash to buy rice for distribution to citizens.
This program is supported by the federal government, state government and local government. Under the distribution exercise, federal government has provided 52% of this funding as grants to states, 36 states of the federation, while 48% of this funding has to be paid back.
Governor Zulum also inspected ongoing construction of Gamboru Model Senior Secondary School to provide access to secondary school education to the teeming youth in the area. In Maiduguri, Mohammed Goni, NTA News.
Time now to join Lagos for stories making the round from that center, and Adiola is our guide. Adiola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Olajide.
Investing in the capital market and seeking alternative returns, among other strategies, will serve as safe haven during this time of persistent increase in the general price levels. Financial experts gave these suggestions as a way to mitigate inflation in the country. Amaka Owo reports.
The capital market reacted positively to the reforms made by President Bola Tinubu-led administration, which include harmonization of the naira and removal of fuel subsidy. However, there has been issues of domestic and importation inflation, which rose to an all-time high of 24.8%. Highest upward contribution came from the food and non-beverages sector. It was put at 12.47%. Experts say there is need for more disposable income as a way to stay afloat.
What people can do is to look at other alternatives, things they can do to be able to generate returns. Look at what you can do. One, maybe engage in agriculture for those that can do even subsistence agriculture to be able to provide certain things for yourself.
We advocate capital markets as a way that, as an alternative to savings. If you come to the market, you pick the right kinds of assets, and we do have several asset classes as well, from the not very risky to the somewhat risky assets, depending on your taste.
They urged government to redouble efforts for an all-inclusive economy, as they say there is light at the end of the tunnel.
On the government side, I think more effort needs to be made in securing our main source of foreign exchange, which is the oil, crude oil market, and making sure that the production volumes are sustained and increased to our threshold within our OPEC quota, and then as well as securing the oil to be sold and for us to get the income back into the central bank.
We have to make sure that we are building an economy that creates jobs for people, because people need to have jobs to be able to afford to take care of themselves as well as their families. And once we put the enabling environments in place, we're able to leverage on the assets and investments that we have. We think that we can grow the economy, bake a bigger cake so that there'll be a lot more for Nigerians.
It is expected that the Nigerian economy will experience a rebound going by measures put in place by the present administration. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Golden Penny Foods, maker of the popular brands of pasta and noodles in Nigerian markets, has unveiled a new and improved chicken flavor with a strong marketing campaign to drive a new golden chapter for the brand. Lynn Leneke reports.
That was the official launch of the rebranded Golden Penny Instant Noodles chicken flavor from the home of good food. The product, according to manufacturer, is available in 70 grams and 100 grams package, made from quality wheat and oil with rich sweet taste. It's now compressed into smaller sizes of unique and attractive package with same quality.
If you're a consumer that appreciates Golden Penny, and in this particular category, to have the confidence and belief that you're going to get the quality, then come to our noodle, because the chicken flavor is fantastic.
Management of Flour Mills Nigeria PLC is also marketing the popular brand with the I Want What I Want campaign, adding profitability to customer satisfaction.
I want what I want, when I want it, where I want it, and how I want it. What that simply means is that we are guaranteeing supply, consistent supply of the product, so there will never be any situation of out of stock in the market.
The campaign will be on digital, it will be on radio communication. You see our outdoor, there will be a lot of trade activities, neighborhood storm, in trying to make it available to the consumer.
The product is affordable, and the product is tasty, nutritious, and non-soggy, and it has all the nutritional value that we can think of.
For over 60 years, Golden Penny Foods has continued to bring families together with its deliciously tasty and nourishing brands.
The taste is different now. A very, very good product in the market.
As a brand under Flour Mills Nigeria PLC, Golden Penny says it is committed to delivering high quality and affordable food products to Nigerian homes. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Lagos. Let's remind you that you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. It's time to take some more messages, more news when we return. Do stay.
Many thanks for being there. And I will now take you back to the story of the First Lady, confirming that priority will be given to better the lives of Nigerians independent of fallen heroes.
Our relationship with various military barracks go way back to between 1999 and 2007, when she was the First Lady of Lagos State. Thus, the plight of widows and other dependents of fallen soldiers is one that the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, is not just familiar with, but of particular concern to her. This formed the basis of her pledge to wives of service chiefs and that of the Acting Inspector General of Police, who were in her office to seek collaboration with her Renewed Hope initiative. In recognition of the ultimate sacrifice paid by the nation's fallen heroes, the First Lady says their dependents will not be neglected.
In whatever way we can reach them, it could be through you, that we can ask you to bring them to Abuja or a number of them, and we see what we can do to them, because we really truly want to help. Because it's an area that, women especially, that they are quite neglected and also relegated. And I want to commend you all for also remembering them.
Wife of the Chief of Defense Staff and National President of Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, who led other spouses of the service chiefs to the meeting, applauded the First Lady for inspiring the spirit of welfareism among women.
We are also passionate about providing quality education in our barracks through our various group of schools, amongst other activities we embark on.
From this decoration, as the grand patron of the various associations led by wives of service chiefs and the IGP, the First Lady moved straight into meetings with newly sworn-in Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Ohaneye, and her tourism counterpart, Lola Adejon, who separately paid her a courtesy visit in the villa.
And we can't fail, because we hold Asiwaju to our hearts. We know his plan for Nigeria. It's a very wonderful plan. And he brought us in as his soldiers to perfect those plans and make sure we totally eradicate poverty in the country.
The programs that we're going to put together will be aligned with some of the activities that she herself is planning through her office, where we will engage in more employment opportunities to support the women.
Noting that expectation is high among Nigerians, the new cabinet members promised not to let the nation down. In the State House, Adeniyi Taiwo, NTA News.
The Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, says it shared a total sum of 966.1 billion naira to the affairs of government as Federation allocation for the month of July 2023 out of a total gross revenue of 1.7 trillion. Chaired by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, FAC disclosed on Tuesday that the federal government received 374.485 billion. The states received 310.60 billion. The local government councils got 229.409 billion, while the oil producing states received 51.545 billion as 13% mineral revenue derivation. The statement added that the gross revenue available from the value-added tax VAT for July 2023 was 298.789 billion, which was an increase from the 293.411 billion distributed in the preceding month, resulting in an increase of 5.378 billion. FAC noted that the gross statutory revenue of 115.424 billion received for the month was lower than the sum of 115.921 billion received in the previous month of June 2023 by 2.497 billion. The balance in the excess crude account as at August 22, 2023 stands at $473,754.57 million. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy observed that there is the need for government to mobilize resources to deliver on its mandate to increase employment and reduce poverty. Another break beckons. More reports after this break. Just before we go, the family of Cornelius Okehie of Ihedima Moabasi, Okepo, Ikembra town in Keduru local government area of Imo State announces the passing of their matriarch, Ezine Catherine Nkem Makolama Okehie. She was aged 94. A night of tribute and songs will hold on Thursday, August 24, 2023 at the family compound at 5 p.m. A funeral service has been scheduled for 11 a.m. at St. Philip's Anglican Church, Ikembra, on Friday, August 25, while interment follows afterwards at the family compound. And that concludes the NTA Network News. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.